What is up, everybody? It's Goblin X, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. And it's time for a banger of a Tarkir Dragonstorm draft. We are starting with multiple legendary dragons. Sadly, we only get to take one of them. That is quite disappointing. But if I had to pick between these two, I would certainly take Shiko, Paragon of the Way. This is the kind of pack you open up at your local game store, and you run up to the counter. And you're like, "Hey, can I just buy this pack?" And we just swap out to a new one because I got a triple rare pack. I don't want to draft it. I want to keep these cards. But hey, Shiko is incredible in draft. 5 mana, 4/5 flying, vigilance, exile a non-land card, any non-land card. It includes permanents with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard, and then you can copy it and cast it for free. So you can recast one of your 3 mana or less creatures, one of your 3 mana or less Stormplane Attainment style removal spells, any of your instant sorceries like Dragon's Prey or something. This card is absolutely absurd in draft, really consistent, cheap value there as long as you've got that mana fixing for it. Beator is really, really good over the course of a long game. It's got like a really nice ability, wanting to have a bunch of toughness on the board, but Shiko is just awesome for that immediate impact. It's a massive creature that needs to be dealt with or it's going to chip your opponent away. It's got flying and vigilance with a 5 toughness booty, so it's hard to break through it. And again, immediate value even if it dies to removal instantly. So beautiful. Beautiful start to the draft. We've got Fortress Kinguard now versus Narset. Honestly, with the power of Shiko, I might just slam dunk a Narset here. I was going to take Fortress Kinguard. This is a very great monocolored spell, as is the Furious Forebear for any aggressive white deck. But the the Fortress Kinguard can also play well in more defensive decks that happen to have white as well. So this is dual purpose, whereas the Forebear is almost exclusively aggressive. So I'd lean Kinguard there. But when I'm already playing probably the strongest Jeskai card in the whole set, I guess a little weaker than the Giant Instant, we're pretty locked into the colors, so we could play around with Narset as well. Narset, the kind of card that once you've dumped your hand out, you can redraw a new hand every turn. So pretty good in more aggressive strategies. Here's a Molten Exhale, excellent removal spell out of red. There's also Dispelling Exhale for an excellent counter spell out of blue. One thing that is worth noting that does make Molten Exhale the better pick here is that the way that the color pairs work in the set, the way that the color trios work, is that they're based around enemy colors, which is a little hard to explain without showing the back of a Magic card, which sadly I can't do right now. But basically, red is allied to green and black. Red is enemies with blue and white. So red being the enemy color to blue and white means that red is the core color of the blue, red, white decks, the Jeskai decks. Red is the core color in that there are blue-red multicolored cards, and there are red-white multicolored cards, but there are not blue-white multicolored cards. So we could go red-white splash blue, or we could go blue-red splash white and play these Jeskai cards. So red is the kind of core color there for that reason. Hopefully that explained it at least a little bit. This draft has been going incredibly well so far. It's insane. There's a Jeskai Monument, a Frontline Rush, and a Sig Appraiser, all of which are just beautiful, beautiful cards in the Jeskai colors. Wow. Are we going to continue just flip-flopping on these flashback drafts? Just bad draft, excellent draft, bad draft, excellent draft? This is insane. All 3 of these are really, really good picks, depending on what you want to do with it. I think we're supposed to go Sig Appraiser here. The value on this card is absurd. 3 mana, 2/1, plus draw the best card of the top 2. Get a creature on the board, get some cards into hand. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Take Jeskai Devotee here to focus up on blue-red as that main color pair splashing in the white, potentially. The Devotee being one of the main ways to get your white mana early and consistently. Kinguard is a card I like better than Devotee in a vacuum, and Iridescent Tiger plays well with the Flurry mechanic, which cares about casting 2 spells in 1 turn. But currently we're just on Jeskai good stuff. We don't have to Flurry at all to be happy. I think I go Devotee here. Sure, pick 6 Jeskai Monument. If I couldn't pick up the first one because the pack was too good. Sig Appraiser, Dispelling Exhale, and Wingblade Disciple. I am living in magical Christmas land. We doing some appraising. Another Devotee. Constrictor Sage is a fine defensive option. I really don't like Monastery Messenger much. It puts the card back on top of your library, so it doesn't draw you a card. It doesn't give you any card advantage, so it's kind of a hard to cast 2/3 Flying Vigilance that sets up your next draw. It's playable if you have like the mythic rare kind of instants and sorceries and stuff, but there's not a lot of those. Unending Whisper's perfectly fine. Rebellious Strike much better in Mardu than Jeskai. This is really good with the Mobilize mechanic, where you're getting these little 1/1 tokens that sack themselves at the end of combat anyway. Because those are just going in for chump attacks all the time, so your opponent is used to just sending a pretty valuable 4/4 in front of your 1/1 and being like, yeah, nothing's going to happen here. That thing had to attack anyway. It entered the battlefield attacking, so obviously that's just because of the ability, right? And then you're like, nope, surprise, Rebellious Strike, eat your 4/4. Humbling Elder here because we are much more blue-red at the core. And it's fine for flurry-style decks. Don't really want to play either of those, but we'll take the Wild Ride. I'm living a dream. Strongest blue rare. Let's not turn this dream into a nightmare, shall we? We're going to just disregard that card. Take a Channel Dragonfire here over Riverwalk Technique. These are both perfectly fine options. There are some big, scary non-creatures late game, so this is more flexible than it looks. Technique is perfectly fine. But I'd rather take a bunch of Dispelling Exhales, and blue seemed solidly open pack one. The double Appraiser and all that, so I'm going to lean Dragonfire there and hope to find Dispelling Exhales for the counters. Third Sibsig Appraiser. Join the party. With all these appraisers, we are really digging towards our powerhouses like Shiko and Moraine River Regent now. Doing some sorting here. Get our non-creature spells into their pile. See how our creature curve looks. We're certainly not like a super aggressive deck here, but we're not like monumentally control-y either. We're in a solid kind of mid-rangey plan here. Deck looks really strong so far. Could use a bit more interaction. Could use a bit more creatures. But we're looking great. Maybe a little more fixing as well. Just the monument and no lands right now. Yeah, could certainly use a few more ways to get that white mana in the deck. But double Devotee helps, for sure. Yeah, I really don't feel like Wild Ride or Rebellious Strike are doing much in here. So I'm going to put those in the side right now. But there's a possibility something weird happens. We actually do want them in the deck, but that's not the current plan. If this draft goes really, really well, and we get a bunch more playables, we can cut some of the most filler stuff like Constrictor Sage and Humbling Elder. Like, these are not terrible cards at all. They're playable, but they're like good filler versus like just really solid cards. So if the draft goes like perfectly, then we end up cutting those. Another really good pack. We can get a second Molten Exhale, and I was in the market for more removal, but there's also Dragonologist for just a really, really good value play. Looks for an instant sorcerer dragon from the top 6 and puts them into your hand. I think when you have 2 bomb rare dragons, as well as a color pair that has a lot of good instants and sorceries, I don't think we can ignore a Dragonologist here, even for something as good as Molten Exhale. The ability to just high roll into drawing one of our bombs off this is ridiculous. Okay, an excellent instant or an excellent dragon to go with Dragonologist. Can't make it up. I'm going to take Shrinekeeper there. Now we take an Osseous Exhale. It is splashed in removal, right? White is going to be lower than blue and red for sure, but removal nonetheless. Plays well with all our dragons, plays well with Dragonologist. It's definitely better than Overwhelming Surge, doing 5 instead of 3, and also for 1 less mana total. Maybe Riverwalk Technique's better here than Exhale, since our fixing really isn't there yet. But I don't think Shock Brigade is super exciting for this pile. We have so much very powerful top end. We don't need to go for like a super aggressive early game plan. We just need to survive till we cast Appraisers and Dragonologists, and those will naturally draw so many cards that we'll be bound to draw one of our really powerful spells off of them. Pick 7 is kind of nothing. I guess an Artisan gives us a treasure towards our white spells. Serpent's fine against tokens. It's kind of like a better Constrictor Sage, just in general. Yeah, I don't mind it. Now we can take a Shock Brigade over a bajillion 3-mana creature. First Riverwalk technique. Again, the card's better than it looks. The card is better than I give it credit for, but also because it looks pretty expensive, because it looks pretty dirtily, it does also tend to go pretty late. So I think it actually balances out on average to be pretty nice that I'm kind of low on the card and don't end up taking it until probably later than you should in terms of the card's power level, because it tends to go later than it should because in terms of the power level anyway. So we end up being able to just pick it up later. Rare draft. Some unplayable nonsense. Pick 13 Dispelling Exhale. Nobody likes blue. Everyone's drafting Boros and green. Oh! Oh! Come on. I've opened... Has every pack that I've opened been multi-rare? Our opening pack was 3 rare. Our third pack is now double rare? And we could play either of these. We didn't take any duels, and we only have 1 monument. Yeah, there's a lot of people playing 5 color. Probably green focus kind of stuff, so it would be really hard to splash an Ashki. Elspeth is still a difficult splash. We need double white off of our third color. But just so inherently powerful, she's worth it. If nothing else, get an incredible rare draft. Pack 3, pick 2. Shock Brigade, Overwhelming Surge, or Quarry Mountain Monastery. So if we're flooded out at any point, we get to just draw extra cards off that. Don't mind if I do. I'll use a 50th rare in this deck. Swiftwater Cliffs, Evolving Wilds look great. The creatures here in blue and red are just not that impressive, so now is a good spot to take fixing. Let's grab an Evo here. Another Riverwalk technique looks best. If I really want to get aggressive, which again is really not necessary because we're just so top-end bomb heavy, then there is like Devoted Duelist or Fleeting Effigy. Those really only do a little bit of aggressive haste damage. We don't want Mardu Devotee. We don't want mana fixing that we need white mana to cast, because the whole point of playing mana fixing is to get white mana in this deck. So it's like, if I have the white mana to cast Mardu Devotee, then I don't need the mana filtering I already got there. Durgar Island Dragon's good with Osseous Exhale, Dispelling Exhale, Molten Exhale, and Dragonologist. So that makes it somewhat high on our list. But we still don't have a whole ton of removal, so we could play Riverwheel Sweep. Although I don't think we're that aggressive to really, really love it, where the stun feels like the card's dead forever, and where the exile feels like it can cast anything. We could do this on 3 and then hit like a 6-drop and be pretty sad. I think I'd actually rather play Durgar Island Dragon in this deck. Another Shock Brigade, sure. Tawny Back's fine too, even if we don't have green, just as a second 4-drop. 4 mana, 4/3, draw a card, discard a card. It's a fine activated, or not activated, triggered ability. Fine enter the battlefield ability, but I'll go Brigade here. Another Dispelling Exhale, beautiful. Spectral Denial's good too, but when you actually have the dragons to activate Dispelling Exhale, it's generally more efficient. 2 mana count unless they pay 4, versus Spectral Denial being like X mana. If you're in Teamer, Spectral Denial can be more efficient, where you have a lot of power 4 greater creatures, but this looks like a better Dispelling Exhale deck than Spectral Denial deck. I think I have enough card draw from Triple Crazer and Dragonologist kind of stuff. I'm not going to play another Unending Whispers Cycler, so take another Meticulous Artisan for treasure production, since we're pretty low on fixing. We have 1 Evolving Wilds, 1 Monument. We might be playing double Artisan in this deck. Not something I've done often. I don't think we're playing any of these cards. We already have 2 Serpents. Probably don't even want to play because I've got a lot of other really good 5s. Yeah, sure. Thornwood Falls. Speculatively. Again, a lot of really strong stuff to dig to, as well as some powerful instants, like all of our Exhales and our Riverwalk techniques. So I like the instant speed card draw of Focus the Mind there. Probably not playing a 3rd Serpent, but I'm probably not playing a 6th 3-drop. Just put a Leopard in the side. I don't think I need a 5th 2-drop either, so goodbye Duelist. And we're not playing the Caves. All right. Yeah, somebody was taking like all of our mana fixing, but none of our blue cards, which is weird. Because we saw like Bloodfell Caves and Thornwood Falls. I think those were somewhat late picks. Not seeing the Jeskai fixing lands late, but still seeing tons of incredible blue cards throughout that draft is really weird. Because they're the kind of cards that play super well in Jeskai. It made me feel like there's probably multiple, like 4 or 5 color players in the pod, but at the same time, we saw other dual lands going really late. We saw the Bloodfell Caves, we saw the Thornwood Falls, but I don't know, who knows. Hard to say, it would all be pure speculation. Either way, this deck is nasty. I don't know if we have the fixing to play Elspeth, and honestly, we have so much power concentrated in this deck without the Elspeth, it's probably not worth the risk of just having her stuck in hand without the ability to ever hit double white. It's going to be really hard to hit double white here, so I think we drop Elspeth. Sadly. And then at this point, we have fine tempo filler, maybe a little fixing filler, maybe a little early creatures. Any of these would be okay creatures to drop from the deck. We are at 18 right now, so we do want to cut a few of those. I really don't love Shock Brigades in here, but I also don't want to go that low on early plays. I think we have enough other really good top end to drop the Serpents, probably. As what makes the most sense. Cut Whisper, still running triple Appraiser, Focus the Mind. Shrine Keeper draws cards too, River Regent draws 3, discards 1. Yeah, we can drop Whisper. For sure. Drop Channel, Dragonfire, still have Molten, Double Dispelling, Osseous, and Double Technique. Or maybe go a little low on creatures. Kind of prefer going a little lower on creatures here. Right, like if I'm thinking of cutting Dragonfire, if I cut like Elder instead, like this is my early, like shoot their little attacker. I still have that just as much early plays in that sense. Kind of want to cut one of these Shock Brigades as well. I think the only thing I'm particularly scared of with this build is Mardu, is Boros. Which in most formats would be fine if it's like, okay, there's kind of one deck that I'm scared of. The problem is this is a format where that's like 40% of the decks we're going to play against or something. Right, our first draft back in the set was 4 Boros decks and then 1 non-Boros as our opponents. So matchup-wise, I'm very scared if our opponent goes Plains Mardu Devotee. But against the 5-color and slower decks, I think we've got a really good matchup. Dispelling Exhale, Double Technique, and stuff to slow them down. Plenty of really powerful stuff ourselves. And against other mid-range 3-color decks also, I think we have a great matchup because we're just naturally going to have slightly higher card quality throughout the game with just how well this draft went, having Shiko and River Regent and Shrine Keeper in our set. All this great stuff, so I think we build it this way. I'm going to call a deck here. Hop into the gameplay and see how far the Jeskai stuff can take us. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 1. We got multiple pieces of interaction and 2 different mana fixing creatures to start us off. So anything that we draw into will be castable. Don't mind the hand at all. We're not a deck that needs to get aggressive in the early game, so I don't care too much that we're only on 2 creatures. Just sets up well for the late game, which is exactly what we want to be doing. We just want to be able to cast all of our big, scary, powerful spells in the future. If we flood out, we also have that Monastery in the opener to be able to draw a bunch of extra cards, even if all we have on board are lands. Our opponent is now going to be drawing a card every time they put a counter onto one of their creatures. They're setting up for a lot of good late game value. We hit the white source to naturally have all of our colors, even if our devotee dies. Tomb Guard. Easy removal target. Here's another devotee and an exhale to also flurry and get 3 damage in. We have the mana next turn to go Artisan, Dragonfire, double flurry again. Sand, Skitter, Outrider, which is going to get a couple counters on itself to draw a card. Have a 4/3 blocker up. We can trigger the flurry here so that they can't trade into these devotees. Let's go aggro here, shall we? Go Artisan plus Brigade. It is spending the treasure, but I don't really want to just Dragonfire their face, and there's no other option of where to Dragonfire. So I want to flurry here so that I can attack. Let's flurry by playing multiple creatures onto the board and being ready for huge attacks next turn. Get one of our 2 drops to trade up into the 4 drop. Pretty nice. Reputable Merchant, 3/3 plus draw a card. This is why Channel Dragonfire was on the chopping block. There's plenty like 3 toughness and higher that it's a little awkward against, but hey, here's a flurry trigger. We get to focus the mind for 4 total mana instead of 5. I spend one of it on Dragonfire. Trade into Devotee, takes 7. They are down to 5. Stormplane Detainment now on the 3/3. They have 3 cards left in hand. There's a Krumar Initiate on blocks. Cannot block our Menace at least. I kind of want to blow it up before it can activate its ability here. Go for no attacks this turn. I don't mind it. It does take life to activate its ability, so it probably wasn't going to be relevant, but still get that off the board permanently. And if we can wait till we have 7 mana, I could play Narset and Riverwalk Technique in the same turn, have no cards left in hand, and then draw 2 for free. Fortress Kinguard. Draws the card off the siege. That's that 7th mana I wanted. So Narset plus Riverwalk Technique. Just do it on Kinguard here. Probably should have just main phased this instead of mid combat. All resolves anyway. Find a big old dragon. They go wide with the Kingard this time to make sure they can block the Menace if they need to. Also multiple chumpers, they can chump Narset twice. +1/+1 counter on the 1/1, which is a draw 2 with Hollowmerk Siege on the board. The Sun Shield. Exile some of our graveyard cards. It's a tapper as well. Alright, well, they're definitely not dead this turn. 3 blockers up. Dispelling Exhale's the draw. Cool, so I can hardcast this dragon for 1-shot lethal potentially. At worst, it's going to get them tapping the Sun Shield. Count unless they pay 4 when they have 8 mana on the board. Probably not the most relevant, but they have to spend 3 of it tapping dragon. That could actually still be relevant. That means they have 5 mana to spend on whatever they want, because they need 3 of it to not die to the Durgar Island dragon. And if they only have 5 mana to spend, that means if they cast anything that costs 2 or more, we could exhale it. Such as that Dawnbreaker. They literally don't have the 4 anyway. I'm actually going to not Behold, because then if they choose to pay the 2, they lose, because they don't have the mana for Ward. I will give them the option to die if they want to. Well, I guess they don't die. I just kill the Dragonfire with combat instead of tap. Yeah, no, that was more cheeky than I needed to be. Just actually counter it there. It's kind of the same outcome either way. It would leave them dead to removal off the top, though. Which they would not be if they kept the Sun Shield mana. So I guess maybe it actually still is slightly better, but obviously not incredible like I thought it was going to be. That was overly cheeky. Oh wow, that is 100% incredible here. Go to 2 and we draw a card. Find a Dragonologist. Inspirited Vanguard. A lot of blockers on the ground, but we got too much going on in the sky for that to save them. And that is not going to be enough. Flyers OP. We are 1-0 heading into game 2. That's pretty terrible mana. But double draw spell for 3. I'm going to keep it. These are honestly some of the best cards in our deck. These 3 drops. They're both castable in this opener. Oof. Island number 4 off the top. Playing against Mardu. Scariest matchup, but luckily we're on the play here. And they don't have a turn 2 play, and that is also quite helpful. I'm going to lead with Appraiser here. I'm looking for red mana more than I'm looking for more dragons. These are red spells, not red mana. We got enough mana now that if we hit the red source, we play the Artisan, right? Devotee could give me red turn over turn over turn, but that would be after I've already drawn the mountain to cast him anyway. So I'm gonna go Artisan there. Windcrag Siege, pretty terrifying. They're gonna go for a 1/1 hasty. They broke the zoom in button. You can't unzoom unless you click on another card. At the beginning of your upkeep, get a 1/1 lifelink hasting goblin every turn. Pretty nice. All right, there's the red source. Here's the Artisan. We don't want to play Narset with this many cards in hand right now. We're just not activating the ability at all anyway. We could have led with Dragonologist. So that our Shrine Keeper would have hexproof when it's not attacking. But it's kind of irrelevant. This thing has haste. So, like, sure, it has hexproof until I declare the attack, and then it's just targetable immediately, because I'm not going to not attack with it. But it was an option. Nightblade Brigade, Surveil 1, they can mobilize. Okay, let's get our guaranteed at least draw 1 off of Shrine Keeper. Artisan trades for Brigade. Get rid of that mobilize. And we draw into Osseous Exhale. Not bad at all against Mardu. Flirting out in a reverberating summons here to jam. We get more Shrine Keeper value. Let's see what Shrine Keeper draws here. Another land. Okay, let's go Dragonologist then. Both of our best dragons. Probably go River Regent. Shiko recasts just Devotee right now. Yeah, I'm gonna go River Regent. Pretty insane draw. Narset's a May ability, so we can play her as a big blocker here. Pass. I don't have Exhale up, but they only have 1 creature I would want to exhale right now anyway. The Practitioner. I guess I could do the summons too, but they don't have any card draw engines right now, so they're not super likely to be able to flurry too many more turns in a row. And if I try to exhale the summons, if they have the extra 2 mana up, they can sack it in response. Get the draw. Stormshriek Feral, discard 1, draw 2. There's the draw to make sure they're flurrying still. Sinkhole Surveyor. That is a Bitter Blossom on a stick. It makes 1/1s on the ground, not in the sky, but it can also just keep making itself bigger every time it attacks. Become a 2/4, a 3/5, and so on. So that's a really scary target for Osseous Exhale. Summons is ready to go, but we got a 3/4 blocker up, so their attacks do not look great without their final card being some kind of red interaction, and it looks like it is not. So I can cast the River Regent, and thanks to this treasure token, we will still have up the Osseous Exhale. Let's pick up the Practitioner Surveyor here. I could kill double token, but I think I'm hitting the flyer. Yeah, I'm just going to slow them down. Alright, basically from this point on, as long as I hold up Riverwalk technique, I don't think we can lose. The biggest way we could lose is to a random frontline rush or war effort to like buff their entire board or buff somebody equal to the number of creatures on their entire board. So if we hold Riverwalk technique up from this point on, River Regent should kill them in just a couple turns. Without them really having much of a crackback at all. Alright, cool. Channel Dragonfire is not bad. They are going to chump here. Love to see it. Fine by me. So 2 River Regent swings until lethal. Here's Devotee. Deal 4 with this Dragonfire. But that still has them at 7, which still takes 2 River Regent hits to kill them anyway. So I'd rather kill like Devotee to just really make sure their go-wide stuff isn't happening here. Discard 2, draw 2. 2 creatures with graveyard abilities. Very cute. Gain 1. Mardu Monument. Those are Menace and Haste. Those are not Lifelinkers. But with Windcrag Siege chump attacks, they could make sure they don't die in 2 swings. But then I guess I could Dragonfire their face for the next 2 and then they're still dead. Yeah, I mean, they basically have 1 turn to get out of this. And we have the counter spell for any non-creature. So they can gain 1 here to be at 7, but then I hit them for 6 and Dragonfire face. I'm going to assume from that they did not find the out. There's the GG from opponent. That is 2-0 heading to game 3. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 3. I think this is probably our weakest opening hand so far. It's got great mana, but not too much outside of that. Our opponent starts blue-black, draws a card, and plays another island. So still looking like just blue and black for now. Champion of Dusan. To speed this hand's currently going, I wouldn't mind just techniquing the champion. But we can also Artisan here. I'm just going to trade into Devotee. Fair enough. So far, our first 3 draws are land, land, land. Plenty of really good draws. We got a good chunk of card draw in this deck. Any of those would be great. And then obviously, any of the big powerful rares that we would want to draw off of the card draw spells would be our other great draws. But any non-lands would be reasonable here. Any more creatures to drop down or removal spells to feel nice and comfy, nice and defended. Dragonstorm Globe. And Mystic Monastery. Alright, full 5 color. And the 4th draw is the 4th land draw in a row. Such is the way of magic sometimes. Send in for 3 and pass. Dismal Backwater. They pass. 5th draw, 5th land. We can start activating Monastery in their end step now to draw cards, though. Monastery was the best land that we could have drawn, but it was still our 5th land in a row. We have enough mana now that we could play anything that we exile off the Monastery. The only misses, really, would be our 2 counter spells. It's an Armament Dragon, which puts all the counters on itself, so techniquing the dragon pretty much deals with it entirely and forces them to just recast it next turn. I think we have better ways to deal with that, like if we had a River Regent. I guess that's it. We don't actually have an exile removal spell in here. So maybe I am supposed to technique over just activating Monastery here. Yeah. Sixth draw is our 6th land. Monastery is until the end of our next turn. So if I exile something that's too expensive, I can still play it next turn. That is our first spell we have drawn all game. It was draw number 7. But it's a good one to have here, because I will happily discard 3 lands to draw 1 card and try to find a spell. Dragon Spray on Narset immediately, as you do. And a Sagu Pummeler. Pass here. Have the Focus the Mind, or sorry, have the Riverwalk technique up if they cast a really good non-creature spell. And if we cast the Riverwalk technique, we can cast both. If we cast the technique first. So, you know, worst case scenario, most likely case scenario. Bounce one of their 2 creatures with Riverwalk technique and the cast Focus the Mind for 3 afterward. Probably have to bounce the Pummeler here, since the dragon just gets even more counters on the board if they recast it. They did only put 1 on Pummeler though, so they would be losing 2 of the 3 counters they just got here, and the flyer is scarier than the ground creature still. Yeah, sure. Civic Appraiser. Hits an Appraiser or an Exhale. Their creatures are too big for Exhale, honestly. Play another Appraiser. I mean, I could cast Exhale and Dragonfire to just kill this 1 Pummeler, but I think it's going to be better for us to just find one of our big dragons. That's a good one. Well, I don't actually have a dragon in hand, so it's actually not going to work, because it took too long for us to draw it. They have more than enough to pay for the 2. We might be able to counter something unless they pay 4, but I don't have a dragon to activate for it. Yeah, like I could counter this unless they pay 4 if I had a dragon, but I don't have a dragon, so it doesn't actually work here. It is still better than the bajillionth land, because it could stop them from double spelling here. That's a good one. Shiko and then Molten Exhale the Armament Dragon and then Dragonfire it to finish it. That's better than Shikoing... well, Shiko can't hit River Rock Technique because it's 4 mana. But that's better than like Shikoing Narset, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, those are kind of the two options. Exhale or Narset, really. Yeah, so Shiko the Exhale and also Dragonfire. It could take 7 or 8 for a swing. Yeah, let's get some damage in. Unless they have something weird that doubles their power this turn or something crazy. They have just enough mana to pay for that. That's unfortunate. Did not hold up their reach blocker. Be close game damage-wise. Do I have any other white spells I can draw? Yeah, I could hit Shrine Keeper, so we still keep the white up. There it is. Yeah. We're at 10 life. They can trample one of these up with their champion. But worst case scenario, I got the 5 toughness Shiko on block still. Ooh, 2 chump blockers in the sky is very good for our opponent. Because without that, we would almost guaranteed have lethal next turn. We'd be 1 damage off, right? Because they could hold Pummeler back, and then we attack with both flyers. The 3/3 gets through, and 2 damage gets through. That's 5, not 6. But now that they have those, they don't have to hold the Pummeler back, so they go for the big trample swing here. Is there an opportunity for a go wide lethal? Not really. I Dragonfire like that on the ground. Dragonfire that on the ground, send in everybody. Chump, chump. Chump, chump, trade. Or sorry, if I shoot that, then these two get through. It's 4 damage. Yeah, it's not lethal, because I would have spent that to kill 1. I think we trade there. That rate. Go to 2. But this thing has trample forever, so basically if I don't somehow find the lethal here this turn, we're gonna lose. So I find another way to deal with it. River Regent would work. Yes, I guess we could draw River Regent. Or Osseous Exhale for life gain. Yeah, I have a couple draws in here that would make me want to kill this Vanguard, that because they could make the game last longer than just 1 more turn. So let's kill Vanguard, go to 2. Let's see. See what we get. That's not it. That's not it. I'm gonna have to block with Shiko. Next turn. Three, 4, 5, 6. It's 5 toughness. If they have removal for Shiko, I'm dead. They kill Shiko and trample over everybody else if I send like this. It's just the vigilance. Tony back, discard one, draw one. Or draw one, discard one, it's the other order. If I kill this, they get to put reach on somebody else. I don't think I can not kill it, though. I don't think there's a way to survive without killing it. 5, 6, 7 toughness wouldn't kill it. Go to 1, lose Shiko, kill their flyer, send in, gain 1, draw 1. But then I die to Pummeler next turn anyway. Unless I hit River Regent still is my out. I've got 10 cards left, one of which is Dragonologist, so we have 2 outs, Dragonologist or River Regent do their thing. That's not Dragonologist or Regent. Yeah, there's no card draw here. I could activate Monastery, but then I don't have Regent mana anyway. Activate Monastery, only have 4 up. That doesn't do it. So, like, what's the line there? Like, we trade into Pummeler, they give another creature reach, I get nothing in. But then maybe I have longer to hit a Regent and try to flip things. I guess I needed to trade there instead of trying to go for 1 turn lethal here. All right. Yeah, I think I was respecting the ability for them to give another blocker reach a little too much. Like, we weren't, because of how powerful some of our draws are, we didn't really need to be like trying to get instant lethal the next turn. So I should have just taken the trade for Pummeler to get rid of that trample. I lose a ton of my board, but then it gets them in a position where they have 1/1/1 flyer, 1 chunky reach creature. And from there, we're in a bit of a top deck war where we're staring at each other, and we know 2 of our 9 cards left at that point are basically instant wins. So we should have just taken the Pummeler trade. That's on me. Tragic ending, because the start of this game was miserable. 6 lands in a row. We drew our first spell 7 cards in. So the fact that we got that close to winning, we were like 1 removal spell from lethal many turns in a row, was really impressive, but it was a winnable game, and the ending lines there, that was just not really like a punt. It's not like missing lethal or anything like that, but it was definitely a bad line. That really didn't pan out for us. We should have just taken the trade there, letting them get chunky and turtled up. It's fine if they turtle up if we have 2 basically instant win draws left in the deck. Ah, man. Yeah, as I was saying, pretty frustrating ending after making it through severe flood in the start, getting so close to turning it around, but just that one wrong block will take it. That is 2-1 heading into game number 4. Beautiful hand here for game 4. This is a snap, keep, auto win, can't possibly lose kind of hand. So let's find out how we lose, shall we? Jeskai mirror match for now. There's Agent of Kotus. Double Sip Sig here. We've already got enough mana. Really would like to find a good top end like Bomb. So we play Dragonologist here, specifically looking for our rare and mythic dragons. If we have them in the top 6, we pick them up, and we do not have any dragons. In the top 6, Agent is a good target for Dragonfire. It's also 1 mana removal, so I can play an Appraiser and a Dragonfire in the same turn. Flurry and be mana efficient. All right, another 4 or 5 color deck. They are blue, red, white, black. Let's boop our friend off the board, or boop a Dispelling, exhale out of hand. We boop the friend off the board. And here's a Sip Sig before we attack for the flurry damage. And that finds our Bomb Dragon. We find a Shiko. We are going to play a 5 mana mythic rare dragon on turn 5. And Shiko is insane with Dragonologist, because this gives hexproof to untapped dragons. Shiko's a vigilant dragon. I'm not going to cast Shiko if they hold up 1 and a blue. That is not enough for a counterspell. I will absolutely cast Shiko here. Chump with Appraiser, so Shiko reactivates Appraiser and gets me another draw here. If they hold off on blocks, it's actually awkward, because then I don't have anything to recast with Shiko. Dang. I don't love to see that. I still kind of feel like just resolving Shiko while they're tapped out. But I could go Appraiser, Shock Brigade, Flurry. Still a good turn. I could go tap Dragon, then Appraiser and Flurry. Alright, sure. Let's go Appraiser and something else. Appraiser could give me the card engrave. Appraiser does not give me the card engrave for Shiko. This is like a board state and a half. Full 5 color now. They could play a Wooburg spell. White, blue, black, red, green. White, blue, black, red, green. Now they got all the mana on tap. This is definitely not a Shiko turn. So this will be probably the Durgar Dragon. I could tap for Flurry and play an Artisan. It's weird. Our board is so wide that I do think that Skimming Strike is honestly probably just as strong as playing a big dragon here, which is pretty insane. Oh no, my 3/3. Fangkeeper's Familiar is really good though. Getting a 3/3 body the same time they get the counter here is nice for them. Five color, oops, all rares it is. Tursa Light Shatter, red aggro haste rare, and Fangkeeper's Familiar Sultai defensive counterspell rare. In the same deck, it is. Oops, all rares for sure. Agent of Kotus up to Tursa. They still have 1 and a blue up. They do not attack. Oh my lord. Time to find out if they have another dragon in their hand. If they don't, they can't counter Shiko. If they do, they counter Shiko and I play Regent. Yay! Goodbye, Sipsic Appraiser. Actually, I guess I'm letting him kill Dragonologist. I shouldn't have clicked all attack. Should not have attacked with Dragonologist. I'm just playing fast, trying to get this game over with. Alright, so what? Now they kill Shiko, cast the blocker, I play Regent. Still very winning. Sure. So Shiko would have died either way. They would Piercing Exhale Dragonologist and then Ugin Shiko.
So insight is vital.
I mean, we lose to Ugin. We do lose to Ugin. If I hit them for 6, they gain 3, go back to 9. If I hit Ugin for 6, he gains 2, goes back to 5. These both suck.
Cease this tantrum. Focus. Breathe. And mine is the power of eons.
They probably played the only card in the whole set that would make the just get this over with all attack. Lose us the game. Because again, like, they still kill Shuko. The only thing that we lost by doing that was like an additional, what, it was like one of the devotees. Just like one extra 2/2. So we lost a little bit of extra damage that might have been able to stack into enough somewhere to get through. They have tap a creature, draw a card up here. So even if I play the haster out, they just tap it and Ugin sticks around. Alright, cool. Guess I'll die.
The wise heed my advice.
No, bouncing an appraiser is a wild choice here. I don't think it matters when you've got an active Ugin, but it's pretty good for us. Infinitely too late, my friends. Magic Arena's got jokes today.
Focus. Breathe. And learn.
Frustrating game. I mean, I was playing really fast. I was just trying to get the game over with, playing very quickly. So there was a turn that we played pretty loosely with the Dragonologist attack, but again, they had the removal to kill Dragonologist and then just Ugin the Shiko anyway. Yeah, it is what it is. I was playing pretty quick here, so we could have played this game out better, but even playing it perfectly, I'm not actually sure if we do outrace the Ugin. So 2-2 it is, heading to game 5. Here we are on the play for game 5. We are 2-2. So we will need to win streak. If we want to get the 7 winner with this, we'll need to go 5-0 here. But I think that's pretty possible with this deck. It's a very powerful one. Playing against Boros this game is the matchup I'm the most scared of. But we're on the play and we have plenty of cheap creatures in this hand, so I think we'll be doing fine here. This is a good opening hand against Boros. We want to go Land Artisan, Land Dragon. I think I want this Devotee. Not over a land, at least. Play their own Shock Brigade. There's Channel Dragonfire, pretty nice here. I could go Artisan Dragonfire. Because I do want to Dragonfire the Forebear. But then I don't have the treasure anymore, so then I wouldn't have Durgar Island Dragon the turn after this. Yeah, I mean, Dragonfire on Forebear will still be perfectly solid on future turns. We don't need to instantly crack this treasure. We can keep it to have access to these two as options. I guess I could go Narset, Dragonfire, and Skimming Strike all in one turn, and then get the draw 3 off of Narset after dumping my hand out. That's also quite a reasonable turn. It's double Prowess trigger for Artisan as well. Yeah, but we would just spam out the whole hand next turn. Could be awkward if the Skimming Strike draws us into like Moraine River Regent or Shiko. There's a war effort, that's fine. Not that scary on this board. Potentially terrifying, but not crazy on this board. Another Artisan, that's nice. So I could play an Artisan and kill the Forebear and get jamming. Hold off on Narset for a turn here then, since we drew another 4-drop. It's A-okay. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage on our board. Depending how they play it out, there's a chance we have lethal next turn if they don't have removal. Because we have 10 naturally on the board. Double Prowess trigger would be lethal even if we don't ping their face. Just accept that damage here, I think. No, you're probably supposed to block one of these. It will mean we don't have lethal if they have the combat trick here. But they still make this attack without any combat tricks or burn in their hands, so we take that block there. Just play blocker. Stormplane Detainment. Alright, well, so much for the lethal crackback. It would have just been Dragonfire the face for 2, hit for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, exact C's. Dang. Okay, if this one Shock Brigade does not somehow turn into 16 damage, we got the two-turn kill. Okay. Giant Dragon plus gain 5 does utterly stop the 2-turn kill. Flurrying to draw more cards here and trigger prowess. If I attack with Shock Brigade, they block it with these two. They take 9 and die, so Shock Brigade gets to go in as well. Because they have to block here somewhere. So they can't actually block Shock Brigade. I guess if I sent Appraiser, I'd get 1 more damage in, right? Brigade hits Appraiser. 4, 5, 6 damage here, but I lose Appraiser instead of a 1/1 that's dying anyway. But that's arguable. That could be the play. Fresh new hand. We find Dispelling Exhale. That's a great one. Equilibrium Adept. They could pay for it, but if they do, they don't have the mana to play whatever they hit. And then they die. Okay. They're going to pay for it and die on board. Send in the squad. For exactsies. That is 3 and 2, heading into game number 6. Okay, defend ourselves until we cast Shiko. That's the hand. Playing against the blue-red deck. I think this hand actually wishes that we were playing against Mardu. We kill our first creature, then we exile the next couple. Sure, I can Dragonfire that and still have an exhale up. Unless I draw Appraiser, then a little sad. Because I'd love to play Appraiser there. Beautiful draw. Guarantee the white source for Shiko while holding up Dispelling Exhale. They hold mana up here. We can play Sipsig Appraiser and still have Exhale up. It's a very good blue versus blue hand. Exhale versus Artisan. I got 2 Dispellings and a Riverwalk technique. I think we take Meticulous Artisan, so I have an additional threat that I can cast while holding up Dispelling Exhale, so I don't need to run out Shiko against open mana still. Okay. Actually, maybe you should have allowed that to resolve, because I can actually Shiko a Molten Exhale now to kill a 4/4. Yeah, I didn't realize that little synergy. Since I chose to let the Molten Exhale go to grave, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that Molten Exhale is now castable off Shiko. Sure, I guess I'll Molten Exhale this one. They got 1 and a blue up, which is what I've been trying to avoid. Sure. Snakeskin Veil. Yeah, it gets it out of Molten Exhale reach, so that's gross enough to counter. They've got a 1 mana blue or black spell too. Did that weird +2 -1 thing that doesn't do a lot? Alright, they're tapped out. Slam dunk. Could have curved this out better, but I feel pretty confident we win this against anything but Ugin at this point. Regardless. There's an Arset too. I can't cast anything and hold up technique, so guess I'm not holding up technique. I'd like to go wide enough to have super guaranteed lethal even without Shiko. Now if they spend all their mana killing Shiko, I can attack with everybody else and ping them for 2 and get the kill that way. If they don't kill Shiko, Shiko still gets the kill. I won't have the double red to actually ping them for the final damage here. But this should still kill them just attacking with everybody. Yeah. There's a good session. That is 4-2 now, a positive record out of this deck, no matter where things go from here. Here we are now on the draw for game number 7. Very solid defensive hand, an early exhale. The Dragonol is just on 3. All 3 of our colors. I haven't played anything yet, so I guess we get to lead with this Shock Brigade. Pretend that we're a Boros deck for a second. Look at me, I am Mardu. Haha, I lied. Blue draw spell. Reveal Shiko off Dragonologist and have the Wombo combo hexproofing Shiko. Sure, if they want to combat trick kill Dragonologist, they got it. It's a free bluff because it's got Vigilance, so I will take that bluff, take that risk, make that block. None of our plays are really good this turn. Alright, we're not really happy till Shiko next. Exhale's pretty good, gives us something good and great for Shiko. But I wouldn't mind putting just an Arset down here either. Let's go Exhale. It's perfectly fine. +2/+2 lifelink hexproof, sure. Still get the Exhale Engrave, and now I can just not attack and not give them the lifelink value. Not even worth attacking Brigade at that point, because the 1/1 token gets blocked by lifelink, and they end up with more life than before I attacked. Alright, well, we'll Molten Exhale Saga Wildling. You could have seen that one coming. Those are all revealed cards. It was still very nice, though. Give him a little winky. Alright, they are doing their best. They're digging, but it looks like they do not have the answer to the hexproof Shiko Wombo combo. I'm gonna hold up a Dispelling Exhale here. I probably should have played Narset instead of Devotee, but it's really important to hold up Dispelling Exhale, I think. Just in case they go like Mountain and play that that Teamer board wipe. Riverwalk Technique's another good one to hold up, but it's a lot harder to hold up 4 than 2. Stop sending in Dragonologist here. We'll make sure the Shiko Hexproof Wombo combo remains unless they double removal. Sure. You go down to 9. Here's a Narset. It's kind of unless they pay 4. They could just pay all 4 and it still resolves. But then they don't get to play anything else this turn. I guess if they try to play anything else, they counter it. Can't counter the activated ability, but the activated ability doesn't really matter. We're killing them in the sky. Three more counters. I could Riverwalk Technique to get rid of this before it gives the lifelink to make sure they are still dying quick. I'm 1 mana away from casting Durgar Island Dragon and still having Dispelling Exhale up. Probably playing overly defensive here. We'd probably just kill them by now if we just tapped out for a dragon earlier. I can actually respond to the Sultai Monument trigger by techniquing, and then no matter what, it gets shuffled back in. But I don't care if they draw this again, because it's 1/1s on the ground. The only part that matters is Chapter 3 at this point. Towards them surviving. So if they put it on top, they redraw it and just die to the flyer before it does anything anyway. So they have to put it on the bottom and hope it's something great. And then we get a haster, wow. That is the GG. And we are 5-2 now in the money out of this draft, whatever happens from here. Here we are for game 8. Blue-red opener. Oh god, we're on the draw against Mardu with turn 1 Devotee. And we have 2 mana interaction, which means they're turn 1 and turn 2 play if they curve out here. Resolve and get to start chipping in, even if we deal with the turn 3 and turn 4 play. We're under a lot of pressure. Please no 2-drop, please no curve out. But Mardu Devotee means no matter what colors it is, if they have the 2-drop, they have the curve out, and there it is. Okay. I'm gonna have to Molten Exhale that, actually, instead of holding up Caustic, because the mana it gives them lets them dump the hand so fast. No Jeskai, actually. Probably Boros at the Core Splash Blue, another Strike Master. It's pretty bad for me. Shiko is very, very good for me. Shiko is our miniature Ugin. Not super beatable, but more beatable than Ugin. Please tell me their next spell is also a non-creature spell, like a War Effort or something. Go Plains Elspeth. Okay, that's fine. We get to see if they have the counter spell here, because if they do, they would counter that. They do not. So let's see if they can beat Shiko, blow up a blocker. Forebear can come back from grave, but it's still much more threatening immediately than the 1 damage devotee. Last card in hand is not removal, so we are pretty stable here, even though it's a great creature. Jeskai Shrinekeeper. We just get to keep poking them for 4 a turn, holding up a counter spell for any removal they draw into. We are definitely favored here after their strong aggressive start. The game has now flipped to be pretty heavily favored towards us. I'd say probably 70-30 in terms of chance to win. 70 to us. Honestly, probably higher than that, especially after drawing Monastery now. But Pack Beast does average that out a little bit more, because they can go really wide if they draw the right cards. They'd have to draw 2 of the right cards in a row, though, because Riverwalk Technique can get rid of one of them. Osseous Exhale. That's pretty awkward when it's revealed, but what are you gonna do? Guess I could send the 2/2 in, but since I have the Osseous Exhale. Okay, they have 1 final turn to get out of this. If they draw removal for Shiko, their best play is to kill Shiko pre-combat, so I don't think we need to play around removal main phase 2 or anything. We got the counterspell to not die to a trick or anything, and there's the concession from our opponent. That is 6-2. Very quick game. That's going to happen against Mardu. They just curve out really quick. It's like, oh, I'm either going to die here or stabilize and win quickly, and it was the stabilize and win quickly. 6-2, heading into the final battle. Win or lose, this will be the final game of Magic for today. Round number 9. Fight. I guess it was like preemptive Divine Justice to die to Ugin so badly, because good lord, we are rare mythicking so many of these games. Another Mardu deck, probably black and red. That allied color only fits into Mardu in terms of one of the 3 color clans. Okay, so as long as we survive till Shiko and River Regent, I don't see how we lose, so let's just play it nice and safe, nice and slow. Exhale the Initiate immediately. This also gives us an Exhale Engrave for the Shiko recast, which is one of the best ways to play Shiko against aggro decks. Just plop down a 4/5, kill their best threat. Kintree Nurture, they go wide with that. I don't hate a 1/3 blocker on this board then. And then turn 4 I can play Monument plus a 2-drop. Monument plus Exhale maybe if Brigade is still around. They do have the Caustic Exhale for the 1/3. Get that out of the way and get 3 damage in, put us to 17. You know what's crazy here? I feel like the right play is Exhale, revealing River Regent. Because if I reveal Shiko, they know that I'm going to Shiko. And Molten Exhale their next threat, and maybe they won't play like another good threat onto the board. But if I reveal River Regent, they know that later I'm going to have like a big stabilizing bouncer. So they might try to put as much power on the board and play as much pressure as possible. Now, if they just main phase a creature, then it doesn't matter. But I do want to reveal here, because the life gain is important. So because of that, I'll reveal Shiko. Since they already played out the creature to kill with Shiko, they can't play around the Shiko at this point. It's too late. Oop the Artisan. They got a 1/1 versus our Shiko, and we still have a River Regent backup. No land off the top, so we don't get an absurd turn here. Just land into River Regent, bounce both their cards would have been absolutely brutal for our opponent. But we still get to draw the cards off the Appraiser. Make sure we're doing that next turn. Our opponent still hasn't hit their natural white source, which is pretty awkward for them, but they have enough mana now that as long as they don't have a white spell in hand, they're fine. Like these hybrid cards, they can just overpay. Go to 12. Dragonfire's the draw. Well, let's just play another giant bomb rare dragon. Boopity. Boopity boopity. We down to 18. I mean, that Stormbrew did give them a lot of life, didn't it? Even if they buff Stormbrew at 6 power against the 7 toughness River Regent, we're all good. We got 6/7. Stormshriek Feral hits the board. Good double block Regent, then I finish with Dragonfire. If they don't block, they take 6, and then I make 2 Chumpers to not worry about the crackback. Sick. Works with me. I don't think I care enough about Devotee to not do the discard 1, draw 2 here. Or discard 1, draw 1 here. Plains is the draw. You never know, we are down to 12. They could find some way to cheese in some damage. This is not a guaranteed win yet, but obviously another game where the board looks very favored, another 70-30 at least. I mean, part of what makes Ugin so absurd is being completely colorless, so you could also just see Ugin and be like, well, rip. Alright, no Ugin. Just play Victor and Bearer and pass. We draw a land, but I can still Dragonfire the Bearer of Glory and draw 1 with Narsets. I'd rather hold the Dragonfire actually for if they double block than I Regent and they have no flyers left. Still playing towards that. I don't want the 1-for-1 trade though. But I guess if they take the 1-for-1 trade, then this breaks through or makes them chomp. We're actually at the point I maybe should just like all attack. But now they have almost nothing on board. Certainly no flyers. They're playing off the top. We're playing off the top as well, but we have Narset abilities. Every turn we cast a spell, we draw an additional card. They did hit Dragon Spray to kill our dragon. And then the Bearer of Glory with Reigning Victor can start attacking with a 4/4, but our draw is a Shrine Keeper. So that's a beautiful draw. No, not Narset, just the flyers. They go to 5, dead in one swing. We draw a relevant spell, so I will not discard. We'll keep that. Now no non-creature spell can win them the game because we can counter any non-creature spell. Most creatures wouldn't be able to save them either. Any kind of reach creature or flyer that doesn't have an enter the battlefield effect can just get bounced and we still swing for 5 next turn. So Riverwalk technique consistently looking pretty great today. Some games it was pretty expensive, which is obviously the big downside to the card, what does make it look quite mediocre. But a lot of these games, you know, positions like this, we draw it late and it's like, so we're just like locked in for the win then, right? Because it's like almost no matter what happens, we're safe. Any good creature without an incredible enter the battlefield effect just gets dealt with for the turn to get have the tempo to get that final bit of damage in, and literally any non-creature just gets countered. So good stuff from the deck. We go 7-2 by the end of this draft. The only loss I remember was the loss to Ugin, which I did not play out perfectly. We could have had a little bit more creatures on board when the Ugin hit, and maybe even that game was winnable. So it's possible that literally every game was winnable. Had we played perfectly. I honestly wouldn't be surprised with just the sheer power level of this deck. So in terms of how I drafted and the deck we ended up with, very happy on that front. Really the only issues here were user error, gameplay error type stuff, as per usual. And it's not like I drafted incredibly or anything. We got a really powerful mythic rare that gave us a clear sense of direction. I was pretty happy with some of my early picks of, like I said before, like leaning into a specific 2-color enemy color pair if we can, rather than going for the allied colored cards. So like getting into blue-red here, getting all these appraisers and stuff. But I don't think anything about this draft was particularly skilled or anything, but I certainly don't think we really made any major errors anywhere in the drafting. Was a pretty easy, pretty on rails draft from the start, but as you can see, it ended up with an absolutely spectacular deck here. Some really lucky pulls, getting Regent, Narsets, Shrine Keeper, and Shiko, even an Elspeth as an option, and the amount of white sources I ran, I just went with the auto suggester. I don't think we needed triple planes in here, so maybe the deck building was a little off since I didn't spend the time to adjust the mana base myself. Because we're not running the Elspeth, probably should have been running like another island or mountain over the 3rd planes at least. We have Monument and Wilds and triple planes. And just the 4 white spells. But I don't know. It played out perfectly fine. But yeah, like we had all that and we had just like a backup Elspeth. Like just in case we didn't have enough powerful rares and mythics on color. We could get the double white one into the deck as well. Have a little bit of a difficult mana cost, but still a really powerful card. Absolutely absurd draft. This is just Magical Christmas Land. This is what happens when the draft goes as easily as possible. You take a great rare in a specific clan, and then that clan is just wide open for the rest of the draft. An on-rails simple draft today, but a great one nonetheless for 7-2. Maximum prize out. Grabbing our 2,200 gems and 6 packs of Tarkir Dragonstorm. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send some more in the recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.